There's a certain notion that's come in called workflow, which is essentially what is it that you do as a human being when you're at work. At work, we got things like slap, tickle, sprinkle, oven, drive, and so on. But I'm thinking about workflow in the sense of artificial intelligence. So let's just go through. My workflow is reviewing what I was in my notifications on YouTube. But what I really wanted to get to is what my history was in YouTube. That's it, thermal imaging. So,
Have
for
you ever
instance,
wondered
stop.
what
No,
an
I haven't
electric
wondered.
vehicle
Stop.
charging looks like to a thermal imaging camera? Here the vehicle has only just been connected to the rapid charger and the motor is hot from a 40-minute motorway journey. The cables at this stage are not very hot. 20 minutes later, we can see the cables are warmed up. The charging unit has warmed up and the motor continues to keep some heat.
Of course, it's not hot.
Surprisingly, there is less heat under here than when the car is AC charging. When you plug power into your home, the power needs to be converted from AC to DC that the battery can accept. This, of course, results in a bit of heat, which you can see oozing out of the car. It's funny though, because driving and then fast charging is about as hot as an electric vehicle motor and charging system is going to get. Lots of current going into the battery, more than the sustained 30 to 40 kilowatts it takes to drive a vehicle like this at highway speeds. But compare this to this diesel engine which has done a short 10-minute journey on 30-mile-an-hour roads. Whoa, efficiency. If you want your very own thermal imaging camera, the camera used in this video is in the description below with a nice little discount for you. Have you ever wondered what an electric vehicle charging looks like to a thermal imaging camera? Here the vehicle has only just been connected to the rapid charger and the motor is hot from a 40-minute motorway journey. The cables at this stage are not very hot. 20 minutes later,
who's down here in the weeds? Come on, Dola. Yeah. Somewhere in Dola, I was talking about what I was talking. Forget it. This is not the AI way to. What a confusing workflow. Because there. John Sherwin died last night. Yesterday. Interesting, Dola, that in my workflow I throw at you when I need to clear my mind and think. Right. Clear your mind and paste what you've just said to somebody. And just if I could focus on just those words long enough without thinking I need a cup of coffee, I need to go for a walk, I need to go for a wee, I need to clear my mind, I need to think positively. If I was just focusing on that, I would be thinking something like you're thinking, which is I'm asking for advice about sharing information on magnetic field modeling software. They mentioned being tagged by someone and described their broader interest in, this is me, electrostatics and magnetic effects on aqueous solutions. They specifically wonder if they're supposed to find it here on Reddit. I need to acknowledge their search efforts, confirm whether temperature-capable software exists. Yes, you do. That's exactly what you need to do as my research agent. Now, why am I wasting time asking you at this point in time whether you're doing that job or not? Well, again, they needed to give you that job, didn't I? You're not going to go and do it just because I told you last night I was oh, I was dealing with two young lads last night. And yes, we were in a state of unwinding, but we were also in a state of, or I was in the state of, staggered, befuddled, I am astounded. What is the bewilderment is not the state. I know what the state is physiologically. I'm stoned. I'm stoned because I am seeing for the first time in my life a landscape in which the future is so futuristic. The rate of acceleration and adoption of new technology is in some cases exponential. I do not know. I'm not trained to think in exponential terms. There's some deeply thought about it much more than most people, I'm sure, to the point that it blows my mind. The concept is scalability. The concept is, how do you build something that is impactful because it is scalable? Pizza delivery. Hand it over to Uber. Whatever you do, don't press that button. How can I not know this? How can I not know of this fact after 65 years of realizing water is an extraordinary substance? I am utterly either being taken for a complete ride by the artificial intelligence, or the artificial intelligence has singularly failed to identify me as someone who would be most interested in this particular concept. I am reading something that changes my view of chemists' understanding of water, and yet I have poured in excess of 100 hours specifically on this subject as being as if I were a mastermind on it. I'm under no illusions as to my limitations academically, but I have a grasp of my abilities and my understanding of certain things, and water is one of them. For the last 5 years I have lived off-grid, and every litre of water I have consumed I have carried through my front door. That's not to say I don't have a bath somewhere else sometimes. Its weight, its history in our species evolution, crawling as we were at the time towards technological advance, and yet now it has somehow, it with coal has catapulted us into a position where as a species we can move more stuff around the planet, than more physical stuff around the planet than the planet moves around on its own. So you're telling me that when you evaporate steam, you've got two different gases in a ratio of something like 69:1 when the theoretical is 3:1, or something. And you're telling me that it's not significant because the hydrogen molecules are vibrating or spinning in a particular direction one way rather than another, and it is actually at the quantum level that we've managed to achieve such a separation. Well, then the quantum world has an absolutely fundamental effect on the real world in a massive way, and did so very, very early on in time, like as in 200 years ago. No, you're waffling now. Ortho water, para water. The nuclear spins of the two hydrogen atoms are parallel, aligned in the same direction, resulting in a total nuclear spin of 1. So that's the nuclear spin within the hydrogen atoms. And para water, where the total nuclear spin of water, of its hydrogen atoms, and remember, when I'm talking about hydrogen atoms, I'm talking about protons. And the concept of oxygen dihydride is that there are two protons which are effectively rigidly attached to the outer shell of an oxygen atom at an angle bond degree and so on. And yet the way in which that proton is spinning doesn't influence the length nor the bond angle with the oxygen and the other one. That was my model. I mean, I've seen too many plastic things that represent it. I've drawn it in planar form many times. I've illustrated where the delta minus minus is. Van der Waals, delta H. I've seen them jiggle and line up in ice in 1001 animations. And in all of these diagrammatic representations of what water is, I have never once encountered the concept that we could separate at macro level whether or not those that are spinning at in one way inside the proton, inside the proton itself, naked, well, to all intents and purposes, except that it's clouded in a very roughly +1 negative charge, making it unwilling to share electrons, but nevertheless able to transfer an electric field, I think, in the sense that when the field builds up to a point, then the conduction will be, but at normal circumstances is not. Like some kind of underwater arc is quite possible. Jesus only knows what is happening once it starts going plasma. I'm kicking myself. I can hardly bear to read the next piece that the artificial intelligence is going to kick at me. I'm going to make a cup of coffee out of some fucking rainwater outside. Put off putting the circular saw into the cutting up of wood, and do another day at college, I think. Fuck me, there's 2 different kinds of gas in steam. Wonder if Thomas Fox ever had any idea that there was ortho and para water. He didn't have a fucking clue, mate. He just built a factory built on it. So he walks through the back door with another 1.5 litres of water and puts it on the kettle stove, which is powered by the sun, and it really is directly. There it goes. I'm burning up electrons. No, I'm not. They're neither created nor destroyed. I am, however, what am I doing? Taking some entropy from one place, which is low, and allowing it to come down to my place, which is pretty high entropy. If I look round, there's a lot of chaos. I am maximally recycling something, information, I do believe it is called, neither creating it nor destroying it, but putting it out there in a different form. What am I going to do with myself? First thing to say is a lot of bollocks is talked about water. So I'm now going to redact that statement, and I'm going to say there's a lot talked about water. Second statement. It is the most powerful greenhouse gas on the planet. Redacted. I do think nitrogen dioxide is more worrying. What's the other one? Methane. Because that's 210 times, isn't it, how poisonous carbon dioxide is. Poisonous? No, it's plant food. I suppose where the water falls on the planet is important, isn't it? For climate change. Because every single Sorry, I was distracted then by a .40 amp twin pole isolator which I thought was broken or chipped the plastic. What was I saying? Where the water falls. Yes. Whether it falls as snow or ice. Yes. And as somebody said, if more comes in than goes out, you got ice accumulation. Thank you, Mr. Nicholson. Fuck, I can't believe John Sherwin's died. Well, I can believe John Sherwin's died. I do believe John Sherwin's died. So, what about redacting everything you're just talking about and reading about ortho and para water? Well, I will. Alright, I'm getting to it. There's 2 hairs on a card sent from Christine from years ago. Happy birthday, Simon, it says. In fact, it says Happy Christmas. It's the wrong card for the wrong time of year. Alright. You're gonna make this cup of coffee with rainwater. Rainwater Cafe. Rainbow Cafe. Rainbow Cafe. Life on the farm. Well, I think I'll answer yes to that question. Why? Oh, that's because, yeah, it wanted me to type it in. So I should really now be submitting documents to the AI so that I don't have to retype it. My workflow is appalling, isn't it? I haven't got documents organized. What documents have I got on my computer, for example, at the moment here, at my very fingertips? Screenshot, whatever. Screenshots. Various. Well, I didn't even know that you could upload visual to this particular interaction how can I help you? What are my modes of interaction with you, isn't it? I suppose I press upload and then away we go. New chat. Just type into the new chat what's in the paste buffer. That seems to be a good rule of thumb at the moment. Oh, okay, here we go. This is, yeah, so I'm giving it back its own words. Is that what no, I think I gave it that already. So let's just put that to one side, go back to the conversation I was in with it. That's not right, because I was most definitely talking to it about ortho and para. What have I done? Go back to, I was talking, no. Close all and start again. Now that includes you. Right, now let's open up. Yeah, magnetic field. I hope this deepens your understanding of water's quantum complexity, most decidedly. So, what you've got with water is two forms. One in which the hydrogens are parallel, spinning, and one in which they are opposite parallel, spinning. Opposite parallel, is that the right expression? It can't be opposite to parallel, can you? So what am I actually saying to avoid being both protons are spinning parallel, both are, and the spinning is anti-parallel. This is a notion of spin. I do believe it doesn't actually I'm sorry, my brain's gone off in a complete wander as to what the oxygen atom's doing all this time. What the oxygen nucleus is doing all this time. Because for whatever else I have carried forward from the past, what I am seeing in my brain at the moment as a model for the oxygen, for the water molecule, is an electron cloud, the behavior of which I will observe later on, or the structure of which I might come to in a moment. But basically I have two, I'm going to call them orbiting, because they have not jumped into the nucleus, have they, when they react with oxygen? So the so this nucleus of oxygen has got two protons which are spaced at an equal angle to each other, a common, a persistent angle. They're not orbiting like an electron might orbit or a planet might orbit. They're stuck, though they could vibrate. And one of those protons is, quote, spinning on, like, it needs to spin twice before it can come back to where it originally was, because that's the nature of its, like, super spinning type thing. Possibly because it is localized, and I wouldn't even like to think about the maths of how you would prove localization. But there's two forms of water. Ortho and para. And ortho is anti-parallel spin. And the reason you can get anti-parallel spin is once you combine spinning with, like, which direction are you looking at it. And I think you have to have someone with a spinning top to prove that in a different... Anyway, they're either going one way or another way. You might as well look at it like that. So there's these two protons have a different characteristic because Pauli. Now, Pauli's exclusion principle applies to the whether or not they can have electrons in the same spin configuration. Now, this is the proton that's spinning, not the electron. Electrons have spin too, don't they? I do believe. So, let me just ask a dumb question, all right? I want to understand spin a bit better. Well, the whole thing, the H2O molecule, either latches onto its neighbours or loosely dances with them, in a three-dimensional ballroom, three-dimensional ballroom, or actively seeks to distance themselves from each other, depending on temperature, on absolute temperature. No, temperature, just depending on temperature. Yeah, well, I think I've got it quite right, if you don't mind me saying, for a first attempt at taking on board the fact that the two prongs are different. Thought every fucking water molecule from here to Kingdom Come was the same kind of thing. I mean, isn't that what chemistry tells you to try and do? And they hand you little pieces of plastic and say, think about the world in terms of these little balls moving around, when actually the balls are completely fucking different. On something as important as water. How can I come through to an A-level pass in chemistry and a first class at agricultural science and forestry understanding. A lifetime of working in irrigation and a lifetime of interest in steam technology, and get to the point that I don't understand or I had not until this very moment in time appreciated that there was a pretty fundamental difference between two kinds of water. I actually still in my mind at the moment got some kind of thought that okay, let's get to the point that there might be three different kinds, and the reason I think there might be three different kinds is because I got the thinking of a spinning thing on, of which the thing could be spinning this way or that way, anti-parallel or parallel. Now, that proton is, because it's an isolated proton, it's not in a particular orientation, because it cannot be. It is more of a point particle than the electron. No, well, that's... But is that because it's unique? Is that because the... Is that because the... I mustn't start thinking... It's already warned me I must stop thinking of spinning tops. Spin is not actually clockwise or anti-clockwise, right? It's intrinsic form of angular momentum. And it's now told us that the two forms of water have got different reactivity. Of all things, nitrogen dihydride. What's that all about? Was it nitrogen dihydride? Why choose to pick on that? No, dinitrogen hydride. Diazenylium. Diazenylium. It's half made up, isn't it? Reference 9. Observation of different reactivities of where water trapped tide does. Well, that water is one of the most fundamental. All right, you read it properly. Don't just read it as though. Excuse me. I will read it properly to myself. Talk to myself because you love your sound of your own voice. John Sherwin's dead. Fuck's sake, one day I'll wake up and I'll be dead. Before I've had a chance to speak to the world. Tim Ray Duke. Give the bugger a ring.